Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us at the MarketSite studio in Times Square, New York City, we have Ruth Crowell. She is the CEO of LBMA to discuss the gold market for the remainder of 2023 and how buyers are more focused on the integrity of the metal that they're securing. It's great to see you, Ruth. Welcome to MarketSite.
So nice to be here in person.
Let's talk about how the LBMA gold price has performed in the past and what have you proved to be the most significant drivers in the space?
Right, so I think this year it's been a range of about 1,800 to 2,000. At the moment, we're broadly around 1,900, 1,912 yesterday. I think lows you saw back in February, and then I think the high came in April, and it was really with the announcement from the Fed minutes saying there were still concerns about the U.S. fight against inflation. So it really gives an indication of what's driving prices. It's the strength of the U.S. economy, the strength of the U.S. dollar, but also what's happening with inflation, and then followed very swiftly by geopolitical concerns given the dynamics as well as world order changing around the world.
What are the market's expectations for gold for the remainder of the year?
So in January, we bring experts together and predict the price, and they were predicting about 3.3% rise on the current gold price. We reviewed that over the summer at the mid-year point, and now they're expecting 4.4. And I think the reasons for that were the principal drivers, I said again, US dollars, inflation, but also what central banks are doing. You had a record Q1 in terms of central bank buying. Q2 came off a little bit, but we're still at the highest year ever with 178 tons of gold being bought by central banks. And the reason for that has much to do with gold is a great investment. It's a great hedge against inflation. It's a high quality liquid asset, but it's also a de-dollarization. It's a neutral currency. And we've also seen central banks in, say, producer countries who haven't grown their gold reserves in decades suddenly saying we need to get more out of our own natural resources. So I think that coupled with investor demand still being strong. U.S. retail demand is actually 50% higher than cryptocurrencies, which is always a positive for the gold enthusiasts out there. So certainly expecting a higher price by the end of the year than we did back in January, and strong interest given those key drivers.
And there's been increasing calls from gold buyers such as jewelry and watchmakers as well as investors in ETFs they want to ensure the integrity of the metal that they're buying. How is LBMA responding to this?
So we have launched an RFP, and really the goal there is to digitize what we call our responsible gold guidance. That's something we've been doing since 2012 to help ensure that the gold we all treasure has integrity. And it's looking at where is it coming from, is it ethically sourced, and really looking to address two real use cases. One of which is trying to get to real-time country of origin of what's going into the bars as opposed to waiting almost a year for the audit. And the other is geopolitical. In terms of Russian sanctions, there's a higher risk of gold laundering and wanting to make sure that is not what's underpinning the gold being traded on a daily basis. So making sure people have that integrity through digitalization, transparency.
And LBMA, you've been talking about this for some time, bringing the global artisanal gold mining community into the mainstream as it relates to supply. How is that ambition working out?
I mean, it's a big ambition. I actually got asked by another reporter when we were talking about digitizing responsible gold guidance, well, you got to make sure that you keep all the artisanal out. And I think that's the key challenge. Like, there's good, bad, ugly with artisanal. The bad and the ugly, we need countries around the world to help us shut that down. But the good, the 40 million vulnerable people out there who are living in extreme poverty, those are the people who deserve our respect and support. And certainly it's something we as LBMA are trying to show leadership of bringing not just industry together, but governments and civil society around the world to try to see where we can find responsibly sourced artisanal gold.
All right, Ruth, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.